Aribolito, Nakula, qué bueno verte. Vi tu mensaje recién cuando me levanté, así que no sabía que venías, pero bueno, me alegro mucho. Aribolito de Bella, how are you? Today's weekend, so you don't have to wake up so early, no? Hopefully.
Hare Krishna, Haribol.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottaman Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Yayam Uddirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Nara Narayan Rishi, the supreme most human being, and their mother Sarasvati, the goddess of learnings, and unto Sila Vyasadeva, the author. Hari Hari. Srimad Bhagavatam 1-24. Partivad Daruno Dumas Tasmat Agnis Maya Tamasas Turashas Tasmat Sadvanyad Brahmadarshanan. No leímos este ayer, ¿no? No me acuerdo nunca. Bueno, translation by Srila Prabhupada. No, we don't read it. I remember now. Firewood is a transformation of earth. But smoke is better than raw wood, and fire is still better. For the fire, we can only derive the benefits of superior knowledge through Vedic sacrifices. Similarly, passion, rajas, is better than ignorance, tamas, but goodness, sattva, is best, because by goodness one can come to realize the absolute truth. As explained above, one can get release from the conditioned life of material existing by devotional service to the personality of Godhead. It is further comprehended herein that one has to rise to the platform of the mode of goodness, sattva, so that one can be eligible for devotional service of the Lord. But if there is impediments on the path, in the progressive path, anyone, even from the platform of tamas, can gradually rise to the sattva platform by the expert direction of the spiritual masters. Sincere candidates must therefore approach an expert spiritual master for such progressive march, and the bona fide expert spiritual master is competent to direct a disciple from the stage of life, the tamas, rajas, or sattva. It is a mistake, therefore, to consider the worship of any quality of any form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is equally beneficial. Except Vishnu, all separated forms are manifested under the conditions of the material energy, and therefore the form of material energy cannot help anyone to rise to the platform of sattva, which alone can liberate the person from the material bondage. The uncivilized state of life, or life of the lower animals, is controlled by the mode of tamas. The civilized life of men with passion for various types of material benefit is in the stage of rajas. The rajas stage of life gives a slight clue to the realization of the absolute truth in the form of defined sentiment in philosophy, art, culture, with moral and ethical principles, but the mode of sattva is a still higher stage of material quality, which actually helps one realize the absolute truth. In other words, there is a qualitative difference between the different kinds of worshipable methods, as well as the respective results derived from the predominant deities, namely Brahma, Vishnu, and Hara. Okay, so here we need to raise from the tamas. That's why we wake up early in the morning. From the tamas to the passion of the day, so we can get to sattva, and only from sattva we can make progress. So it's good here because it's encouraging, because it say anyone, even from the platform of Tamas, can gradually rise to the Sattva platform. So this is my hope, and anybody else hope, who are in the same place. Even the platform of Tamas can gradually rise to the Sattva of the platform of by expert direction of a spiritual master. Hori Hori. And by passion, as we go to work, we do things, and and that's necessary to survive in this world. But we can have philosophy and culture and moral ethic principles, but the mode of goodness of sattva is higher than that. That's the 2 points I want to say here. I want to read the next one, 1-25. Devesha, I take you can read, that's why I'm reading, but if you want to read, you're welcome to read.
Sure, if you want, I can do it. Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
I read one, you read one.
Okay. Do I read the Sanskrit?
Whatever you like. You say you like it, so
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 25. Translation. Okay. Vichire munayo tagre bhagavatam adokshayam sattvam vishuddham kshemaya kalpante yenuta iha. Translation. Previously, all the great sages rendered service unto the personality of Godhead due to his existence above the three modes of material nature. They worshipped him to become free from material conditions and thus derive the ultimate benefit. Whoever follows such great authorities is also eligible for liberation from the material world. Purport. Jai Srila Prabhupada. The purpose of performing religion is neither to profit by material gain nor to get a simple knowledge of discerning matter from spirit. The ultimate aim of a religious performance is to release oneself from material bondage and regain the life of freedom in the transcendental world, where the personality of Godhead is the supreme person. Laws of religion, therefore, are directed and enacted by the personality of Godhead, and except for the Mahajanas or other authorized agents of the Lord, no one knows the purpose of religion. There are 12 particular agents of the Lord who know the purpose of religion, and all of them render transcendental service unto him. Persons who desire their own good may follow these Mahajanas and thus attain the supreme benefit.
sorry, I was saying Hari Hari, but I didn't. Very nice. Read one more. 1-26. Those who are serious about liberation are certainly non-envious, and they respect all. Yet they reject the horrible and ghastly forms of the demigods and worship only all the blissful forms of Lord Vishnu in his plenary portion. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is the original person of the Vishnu categories, expands himself two different categories, namely integrated plenary portions and separated parts and parcels. The separate parts and parcels are the servitors, and the integrated plenary portions of Vishnu Tattvas are the worshipable object of service. All the demigods who are empowered by the Supreme Personality, all the demigods who are empowered by the Supreme Lord are also separated parts and parcels. They do not belong to the category of Vishnu Tattva. Vishnu Tattvas are living beings equally as powerful as the original form of the personality of Godhead, and they display different categories of power in consideration of the different times and circumstances. The separate parts and parcel are powerful by limitation. They do not have unlimited power like the Vishnu Tattvas. Therefore, one should never classify the Vishnu Tattvas or the plenary portions of Narayana or the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the same categories with the parts and parcels. If anyone does so, he becomes at once an offender by the name of Pasandi. In the age of Kali, many foolish persons commit such unlawful offenses and equalize the two categories. The separate parts and parcels have different positions in the estimation of the material powers, and some of them are like a Kala Bhairava, Samasana, Bhairava, Sani, Mahakali, and Chandika. These demigods are worshipped mostly by those who are in the lowest categories of the mode of darkness of ignorance. There are other demigods like Brahma, Shiva, Surya, Ganesh. Many similar deities are worshipped by men in the mode of passion, urged by the desire of material enjoyment. But those who are actually situated in the mode of goodness, the material nature, of material nature, worship only Vishnu Tattva. Vishnu Tattva are represented by various names and forms such as Narayan, Damodar, Vamana, Govinda, and Adokshaya. The qualified Brahmanas worship the Vishnu Tattvas worship the Vishnu Tattvas represented by the Shalagram Shila, and some of higher castes like the Kshatriyas and Vaishyas also generally worship Vishnu Tattvas. Highly qualified Brahmanas situated in the mode of goodness have no grudges against the mode of worship of others. They have all respect of other demigods, even though they may look ghastly, like Kala, Bhairava, or Mahakali. They know very well that these horrible features of the Supreme Lord are all different servitors of the Lord under different conditions, yet they reject the worship of both horrible and attractive features of the demigods, and they concentrate only in the form of Vishnu because they are serious about liberation from the material conditions. The demigods, even of the stage of Brahma, the supreme of all the demigods, cannot offer liberation to anyone. Hiranyakashipu underwent a severe type of penance to become eternal in life, but his worshipful deity Brahma could not satisfy him with such blessings. Therefore, Vishnu and no one else is called Muktipada, or the personality of Godhead, who can bestow upon us mukti, liberation. The demigods, being like other living entities in the material world, are all liquidated in the time of the annihilation of the material structure. They are themselves unable to get liberation, and what to speak of giving liberation to the devotees. The demigods can award the worshippers some temporary benefit only, and not the ultimate one. This is the reason only, it is for this reason only the candidates for liberation deliberately reject the worship of the demigods, although they have no disrespect for any of them. Hari, Hari. I think it's important here, no, that there is no disrespect, like, Prabhupada saying, that they still are very understand they're serving of Krishna. They're like a special part of Krishna, empowered in certain ways, and they're serving of Krishna. So the demigods need to be somewhat respected, but not necessarily worshipped, no? So this is very nice. And devotees can worship the demigods, but they're wasting time. It's not that you can't worship, if you want material benefits, you can, but you can also go to the source with Krishna. And Krishna will give you the benefits. The demigods will give you the benefits, even if it's good or bad for you, even if it's good or bad for other people, yes? But Krishna will give you the benefit if it's only good for you, for your spiritual advancement. If it's not going to be a problem or a stumble in your spiritual advancement, then Krishna will not give you that. like the manifestation thing and whatever, yes, you can manifest, but if it's not good for you, if it's going to entangle you, if it's going to make you more attached to the material world, then Krishna might not give it to you. So Krishna provides us what is it that we want in the way that is going to be beneficial for us. It's not like, helping us to get out of this mess, If he's going to keep us in jail longer, he may not give it to us. He will say, no, this is not for you this time. And so he's clear on that. When he doesn't want to give you something, he's very clear. You can endeavor as much as you want and nothing happens. And when you don't want something and Krishna wants it, it's like, everything comes really pouring, no effort on your one part, So Krishna is very merciful that way. He knows how to make us, believe a peaceful life in this life, get all the things we need, at least the basics, and then, the rest, if it's good for you, it's going to give it to you. If it's not good for you, he's not going to give it to you. But devotees, this is more applied for India, because devotees don't worship too many, even before being a devotee, you don't worship anybody to get things, Maybe you pray to God or something like that, but, we say, Padre nuestro que estás en los cielos, we ask for bread, and, we ask for this minimal, like survival, things from God. We don't ask for, give me a Lamborghini or a husband or whatever, or have one God, especially in South America. We only have, very like basic needs God, basic needs demand God. But in India, they have, they worship this for this. When they buy a house, they worship that. And when they, they have so many wishes and so many. If you want to marry, you need to worship this God. If you go to school, you worship this demigod. And so you worship all the demigods for the different needs. And they know when and how, and, even the 9 planets, they worship the 9 planets, and so on and so forth. They worship anything. So this purpose mostly not for Westerners, I will say, in general. Well, even though now the Indians become more popular in the West, maybe it becomes also an issue, but it's not yet so prominent. Anyway, you want to read one more, or we should leave it here?
As you want. Really
You can
enjoy.
read one more. Okay, let's read one more.
Okay. Canto 1, 2, text 27. Rajastama praktayah samashira bhajanti vai pitribhutta prajasadin shriya shavarya prajepshvaha. Translate. Those who are in the modes of passion and ignorance worship those in the same category, namely the forefathers, other living beings, and the demigods who are in the charge of cosmic activities, for they are urged by a desire of material benefited with women, wealth, power, and progeny. Purport, Jai Srila Prabhupada. You need to worship demigods of whatsoever category if one is serious about going back to Godhead. It is clearly said that those who are mad after material enjoyment approach different demigods which are meant for men with poor fund of knowledge.
Be careful when you put your mouse, your hands, because sometimes I can hear you. You cover your microphone or something.
Yes,
so.
sorry.
That's all right.
Do I begin from beginning or just continue?
In the Bhagavad Gita, that part I couldn't hear.
Okay. In the Bhagavad Gita 7.20 and 23, it is clearly said that those who are mad after material enjoyment approach the different demigods for temporary benefits, which are meant for men with poor fund of knowledge. We should never desire to increase the depth of material enjoyment. Material enjoyment should be accepted only up to the point of the bare necessities of life and not more or less than that. To accept more material enjoyment means to bind oneself more and more to the miseries of material existence. More wealth, more women, and false aristocracy are some of the demands of the material disposed man because he has no information of the benefits derived from Vishnu worship. By Vishnu worship, one can derive benefit in the life as well as in life after death. Forgetting these principles, foolish people who are after more wealth, more wives, and more children worship various demigods. The aim of life is to end the miseries of life and not to increase them. For material enjoyment, there is no need to approach the demigods. The demigods are but servants of the Lord. As such, they are duty bound to supply necessities of life in the form of water, light, air, etc. One should work hard and worship the Supreme Lord by the fruits of one's hard labor for existence. Then that should be the motto of life. One should be careful to execute occupational service with faith in God in the proper way, and that will lead one gradually on the progressive march back to Godhead. Lord Sri Krishna, when he was personally present at Vrajandama, stopped the worship of demigod Indra and advised the residents of Vraja to worship by their business and to have faith in God. Worshipping the multi-demigods for material gain is practically a perversity of religion. This sort of religion activity has been condemned in the very beginning of the Bhagavatam as Kaitva Dharma. Kaitava Dharma. There is only one religion in the world to be followed by one and all, and that is the Bhagavata Dharma, or the religion which teaches one to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead and no one else.
Very nice. Thank you for doing. So
Sure.
again here, Prabhupada established, that we should not worship anybody else. But, like I say, we don't normally worship anybody else in general. But we worship famous people. We worship things that like that, like we want to be with them. We try to, so simulate them or something like that. But we don't ask for benefits. Like if you follow a famous person, you're not going to get for a benefit from them unless you're very close to them and you can say, hey, give me a ticket, or something, make a picture with me so I'm famous too, something like that. But yeah, we don't have too much of this worshiping thing. But anyway, if you want anything, Krishna is the answer. Krishna is like, here exactly say what I was saying before, no? The aim in life is to end the miseries of life, not to increase them. So, we don't know what increases the miseries of life. We don't really, we think, what we think it will stop the misery of life. We notice if we look at the news around the world, they're not really stopping the misery of life anybody. They get like worse, because there's no end. Like putting ghee in a fire. If you put ghee in a fire, it's going to be more fire, not less fire, so not the end of it. So we need to be, but we need to ask for the very basic things. We need to have enough food, we have to have a mind peacefully, and we can ask for, basic needs, like, and then, because if you're hungry, or not sleeping, or are disturbed emotionally or something, you cannot worship anybody, even God or demigods or anything like that. So you need to have at least the minimum. That's why sometimes people ask God for bread or something. That's okay. It's good, because we need to have minimum. We have to have food and shelter and protective and so on and so forth. I think that's not the problem. And then with a clear mind, we can ask Krishna for getting to know him and so on and so forth. But if you're too desperate, it's very difficult to be there. There are people who can do it, obviously, but in general, you are too disturbed with other things. It's much difficult. So we want the devotees of everybody who worship God. And here says Bhagavad Dharma, those who want to know God. And there are many religions and many practices that want to know God, and other religions that, again, promising you, things that are material, And so if they promise material benefits, they are cheating you, because, the material benefits are they're going to entangle you more. It's
Yeah, but in India is a lot of demigod worship yet to this day, no?
Yeah, they're tremendously. Yep. That's what Prabhupada is speaking like that. Yeah, tremendously. Yeah. But movement for Lord Chaitanya is becoming very popular in India. Thank you to Srila Prabhupada, his disciple, and Radhana Swami and many others. Shayapataka Maharaj, so many others are preaching there. There's so many. If you see on Instagram or YouTube, you see so many devotees from India preaching, with millions of followers. Used to be the Jayapataka Swami had many disciples, but now so many Indian devotees have tons and tons and tons of followers, more than others, I would say, more active and more than others, So they're not preaching just to the Indians, they're also talking to the Westerners, and they, not all of them talk about Krishna directly, but they are giving advice how to bring them to the platform of goodness, and then from there, hopefully, they can be more clear to worship Krishna. So
there's so big Ratha Yatras there. It's like huge, a lot of people, and it's incredible.
No, and with Raman, I mean, what happened is that also many of them worship Krishna in different forms, and they're very devoted to Krishna Rama form. They're super devoted Ram, and they're like, Ram, and they're like, Ayodhya. Now the airport is like, or pastime of Ram in the airport, a big temple, huge temple with everything so amazing they have done there. And the day of Ram, it changes by moon calendar, no? But the scientists figure out exactly when the day of birth of Ram and the deity, the new temple they made such a way that they have mirrors on the top of the temple in such a way they can capture the ray of sun and goes in the tilak of Ram, and in here comes a light of like a laser thing, but this is not a laser. This is come from the sun directly, and if it's at a certain time, and I think this year was for 4 minutes in there, the sun, but it's like super. They did the mirrors, and the mirrors cannot be obscured by the smoke of the incense, for example, and so it's very huge engineering part just to have the tilak, like the sun emanating the tilak from this, and so they spend millions of dollars and time, and so they try to worship Ram, and the Ram is the biggest lord, and some others are Jagannath, Baladev and Subhadra, and so they also that's what they spend their lives worshiping Krishna in the form of Balaram, Jagannath, Balaram, Subhadra. So yeah, everywhere in India, they worship Krishna in many of his form, original for Vishnu Tattvas, and they also worship demigods a lot. You have to go, so I'm going to let you go. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for being here. Let's offer respectful obeisances to all devotees of the Lord. They are like a desire tree, able to fulfill everyone's desires, and they're full of compassion for the conditioned soul shy. Vanchakalpataruvascha, Kripasindhuvyavacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavyo, Namo Namaha. Hari Hari. Gracias por estar. Thank you for being
Hare
here.
Krishna.